So, Sean, today's witch word of the day, deosil, adverb. In Wicca, deosil is a clockwise or sunwise direction. It is derived from the Latin word dexter, which refers to the right-handed, favorable, or skillful. It is used to attract or bring others to you. For example, if you're making a love potion, you would stir it clockwise to attract love. Or if you're making like an abundance charm bag, you blend the contents clockwise to attract money.
You haven't even read that?
Wait, what are you doing with the book?
So he has the confidence to finish the story.
Hear now the words of the witches.
This is Kevin, and welcome to Words of the Witches, the Charmed podcast that will guide you through the lesser-known published material in the Charmed universe and decide how it fits into the grand narrative of the TV series.
Well, welcome to Words of the Witches, episode 88.
You got the episode number.
Yeah, I write it down ahead of time now. But yeah, I'm Kevin, your resident Charmed resource.
And I'm Sean. I just love comic books.
So this is the beginning of Volume 3. Today's comic is Season 10, Issue 13, Court of Love. And it was published November 4th, 2015. Written by Pat Shand. Artwork by Georgia Sposito. This is a new artist. Yeah.
I knew it!
You knew it, you can tell.
Yeah.
Colors by Valentina Cuomo. Letters by Christy Sawyer. Edited by Pat Shand. And cover art by David Seidman. And we've got Coop and Phoebe and the Devil Angels attacking them in the sky.
Devil Angels.
Just like, oh, they're creepy. Like little cherub baby angels with tiny wings and tiny bows and just like angry faces and burning eyes in your soul. How do you feel about this cover?
I love it, mostly because I think Coop is so hot. And seeing him and my girl Phoebe like in distress and seeing them in danger, it really does like up the excitement, makes me want to read it. Like, I just really like the fact that Coop has been kind of built up, like getting to this issue. Like, it doesn't come as a surprise. We've had hints of this happening, and now we're finally getting the answer.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and his little ring, Cupid ring is in there too, glowing, and his big old Victor Webster face. It's nice. It's a very good likeness.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Victor Webster made me that shout out for this podcast? He had made me such a beautiful video. And he said he actually went to check it out and listen to it. And he's like, yeah, this is the place to go for all your published lore stuff. So thanks again to Victor Webster for that.
What a hot yet nice guy. Like, those are two very good things.
Yes. All right. So let's get started. Page 1. It says, Phoebe Hallowell, charmed one, ready for a fight. And we kind of see her thought bubbles here. She says, it's amazing to me. And then we cut like 2 issues ago with Barbas when they're walking in the park. So it's back when he's like, Phoebe, I got something to tell you. And we hear her thought bubbles. After everything I've gone through, everything I've lost, you would think I'd get used to it. That I'd become hardened and prepared for the worst. Anything that could happen to someone, woo, trust me, it's happened to me. And we see Coop say, I didn't tell you this because I wanted to just let it go away. And I didn't want to stress you, but I don't want to hide anything from you anymore. And she's like, Coop, you're scaring me. He says, the Cupids feel that bringing our kids there, like to the temple, is putting a target on them. Just what I suggested. Because I knew, but still. And then Phoebe's like, what are you talking about? Nothing even happened. Everyone is fine. They just went to the temple and babysat. What the hell? And he's like, I know, but Cupids are really dumb. And they say that I'm not supposed to take sides and things like these. I'm supposed to remain neutral and not be in the good and evil fights. Just like Nox Academy didn't like that either. So Phoebe's like, what are you saying? Facepalm, my hairs. And he's like, we have 2 weeks. And then I have to go to my sentencing. And then we see Phoebe like sitting down somewhere else, all dressed up. She's like, but here I am, gritting my teeth to hold back the tears. ...
But in the second image, I have one question for you.
What?
Why is Coop walking so funky? Like, look at the way his foot is.
He's walking like sideways.
Yeah.
He's like, Phoebe, I'm walking to this bench. We need to sit down. He's like, follow me. He's like, okay, I thought we were walking down the path, but I guess you want to walk to this bench. So he's probably just changing direction. Yeah.
That's it. He's walking towards the bench because you're right. He's sitting down the next one. So that's me.
Yeah.
That's not you, artist, Esposito person. That's me. So Phoebe finishes her thought. She says, as I prepare for my life to change again. And we see Coop and Phoebe are sitting on this like white marble bench, like the type you'd see in a museum, but they're not in a museum. They're in the Court of Love. I feel like this would be such a good TV show. Like, I would watch this show.
I think we already mentioned that too in a previous episode. Yeah.
And we see like the presiding angel is like huge. Like, why is he so big?
I'm the Grand High Cupid.
Yeah. I really like, I know it's probably small. I don't know if it should be made a big deal out of, but I like the fact that he's also a black man, just because it takes away the whole like power struggle we see in America where white men hold a lot of the power. Like, that doesn't matter here. Like, anybody could be in charge. And I love that.
Yeah, it's great.
So he says, Coop Hollowell, in the time since you have married your wife and taken her name, you have broken more laws than we can count. And then Coop says, if I may, Your Honor. And he says, you may not. What a bitchy queen. He says, this is not a court of men. This is a court of love. And we see Phoebe like looking like despondent. And hot angel daddy of huge stature says, we know your heart. Any words you would use to express its song would lessen it. You have been among mortals for too long, Coop. That time is over. Shit.
I have questions because he told Henry that he was lying about the trial.
Oh, he did.
And now he's got this thing really going on. So I'm like, what was he really lying about? Was he lying to Henry about lying about the trial? Or did boy crying wolfing it come back to bite him in the ass? You know, he's like, I lied and now it actually happened.
Well, put that in your back pocket, because in the words of Tara and Willow, I have a theory. I think I know why that was done.
Okay. Yeah, I have thoughts about it in canonical too, which I'll wait to the end. But
Okay.
Okay, so then we see Ben, who looks exactly like Cole because he's in Cole's body. But I'm not counting this as a you look familiar moment, but he's wearing like the sweater that looks just like the sweater he wore in Charmed and Dangerous, season 4, episode 13. It's not like there's no like shot for shot, but this is the look, this is the sweater. So he must have been raiding Cole's closet or something. And then we see him say, God, I've missed you. And in the next panel, we see Queen of the Underworld, Phoebe. What? Saying, I missed you too, Cole, with all these like, there's like dead people at her feet, and then other minions in very tight pants and magic style outfits. I mean, Magic the X-Men character is what I meant to, you know.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then Cole says, or see, I'm saying Cole, Benjamin. It's hard to say who really know what's going on right now, because she says Cole. Is this Ben? Is this Cole? I don't know. It's a dream, so I don't know what's real. He's like, why are you wearing this? This isn't. She's like, this is us, Cole. This is all we ever were. Darkness, death. He's like, no. I sacrificed everything for you. I sacrificed everything to save you. So this whole situation makes me think that this is actually like Cole, or a vision of Cole, or a dream of Cole.
Yeah, because isn't it Ben living Cole's memory?
Right. So I just don't know who's talking through him. It's
I see what you
very
mean. Yeah.
like, is this Cole's voice or is this Ben speaking through Cole's body? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
It's
it
like,
does set it up to like it might be Ben because he's like, "Who are you? Why are you dressed like this?" But then he has Cole's memory, so it's a little jarring that he has Cole's memory.
mhm. And saying like, no, I sacrificed everything for you. Like Cole sacrificed everything for you. Ben didn't
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice anything for you. But then the next panel we see like he's in like the graveyard, and we see like the corpse of Cole. And now we're back in the kind of Ben's thing. And he's like, how did this happen? How did? And we see like the corpse of Cole like wake up with the athame in his chest and reach out and say, "Dad." And he's like, "Cole, no, 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 please." This is terrifying.
Yeah, it really is. But if you need something to make you feel better, how about naked Cole or Ben in bed? So we go to the next page, and it says Ben Turner, human, looks good for his age. Get it? And then we see Kyra comes in and says, "Morning, sunshine. You planning on doing the spell like that? I mean, not that anyone would mind because, damn." And Cole stands up, or Ben. It's so fucking confusing. Ben stands up and he's naked, but unfortunately he's pulled the sheets off the bed and covers himself. And he says, I'll be up in a minute. I think he already is though. Like he's giving 2 standing ovations right now. It's Kyra. She says,
Kyra.
Remember, we've only got a few days left before Prue's aura goes nuclear again. Chop chop. And then she leaves the room, and Ben thinks, I feel it when she talks. She may be human now, but that's just a mask. That thing was a demon, just like Elizabeth. And I don't care what magic these witches do, you can't change the core of someone. Can't change who they are. And very interestingly, he's looking into the mirror at his son's body that he's trapped in as he's thinking this, because I think this is setting up that he doesn't trust Kyra because of what happened to him being betrayed by his love. Mm-hmm. And he also doesn't, I think this sets up that he doesn't like being in Cole's body because it's not who he is. It's unnatural for him. I mean, he's looking at his son naked in the mirror, basically, which is very odd.
Yeah, it's so odd when you think about it. Like, this isn't me. And yeah, it's a weird paradox in your mind when you feel that way, you know. Next page, and we see kind of like the Ben inner voice. But here he's like, I could leave. Go on now, go! Walk out the door! Just turn around now! He's like, I could live my life and never see these people again. And we see Prue say, hello, Ben. He's like, I'm living in the body of my recently deceased son, and I remember more of his life than I should. Every time I close my eyes, I see something he did, something horrible. I see what I couldn't rescue him from, what his mother turned him into. And I see Phoebe. I'm wondering, like, how is Ben seeing these flashes of Cole? I actually don't think it has anything to do with being in Cole's body. I think it's something else. Because he saw the flash when he was in Coop's body. And we questioned that. So I'm thinking there's something else entirely at play that's causing this. Has nothing to do with being in Cole's body at all.
That's true, because we figured it was Coop's power reading off of Phoebe, but you're right, now he's not in a body. He's in Cole's. So if it was in fact Coop's power that did it the first time, the only thing I could think of to make it work this time is if he is in Cole's reconstructed body, does that also mean he has Cole's brain? Like, is his spirit inhabiting the body, and is his spirit in Cole's physical body like at odds with each other? I don't know.
Yeah, I do believe this is explained. I think there's more that gets expanded on it, but it's fun to think about right now. Yeah, there's so many things that I remember about these comics, but so much that I forgot. It was, I haven't read these in 10 years. It was a long ass time.
Welcome to the life of trying to explain X-Men.
Yeah.
I read so many comics, so like not recently, and it's like trying to go back and remember details. It's hard. I get it.
But then he says, what do I have to do? And Prue says, Same thing we do every night, or same as last night.
Try to take over the
Take
world.
over the world. She's like, I tweaked the spell, thinking this one will work. I just need a third body to complete the triangle. But then he's thinking about Phoebe again, and he says, my boy loved that woman like he was on fire. And then we have Prue and Benjamin and Kyra all together holding hands. And Prue says, somehow vanquished demons are escaping the wasteland. This isn't the first time a demon's been resurrected. Present company included, Kyra. Look at you, girl. And looking at me, too, because, how many times I've been resurrected? How many times have Cole been resurrected? We're all resurrected people, so we get it.
Been there, done that, girlfriend.
Yeah. But this spell should show the faces of the demons who have moved from the wasteland and onto our plane this month. So interesting. It's like, if there's more than just the Barbas and Shax, if there's more than that, then we might have a problem. And then we see Benjamin close his eyes. He says, my son is dead, and the last thing he did was save my life. But then we see Kyra and Prue float burger. They start flying into the air. Their eyes are glowing white, and Benjamin's just holding on to them for dear life. He's like, what the hell?
And then on the next page, we see as they're floating, Ben is thinking, I'm living a fucking nightmare. This is a nightmare. I'm like, I get it. He's being tortured with what he couldn't prevent his son from doing. He's forced to be with an ex-demon and a witch. This is everything he hates. And we see in the pink to orangey fire, there are how many? 10. Magic number 10 faces. And Prue's like, Hermes!
What's that name?
What's that? Weirdest orgasm ever.
Yeah. Sean,
it looks like...
pop quiz. Can you name these demons? Every single one has appeared on the show. Every single one.
Oh, shit. I see Shax. That's Shax, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Oh, I don't remember this one's name, but in the right below Shax is the one from... What's it called? How to...
Make a quote out of Americans. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Season 2, episode 17.
Okay.
That wasn't even his pretty form. He was a hot guy, but that's his stupid skin Frankenstein look.
Ew.
Is
the one in the upper left Abraxas?
Yeah.
No. Oh, it is?
It is, but just really, I don't know, a little disoriented.
Yeah. The others look familiar, but I can't think of. Oh, wait. Okay, bottom right. Is that the seer?
Yeah, Debbie Morgan seer.
Oh, she's back at it, mama.
She's going into the void.
Into the void. Yeah, the other ones I can't think of.
Okay, well, there's Barbas there too. We just saw Barbas.
Oh, is that him next to Abraxas?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That looked more like Simon Templeman to me.
Okay. Put a pin in that for another issue. Okay. Up top we have the Vampire Queen, the first Vampire Queen. I need to specify because there was another one in season 7, but the season 4 Vampire Queen. And then we have the bottom one, the very old guy looking. That's supposed to be Javna. A little loose. A little loose on that one.
Yeah.
And then at the very top right, that's Hecate.
Okay.
Waiting from Hell demon form.
Ew.
And then we have the Wendigo underneath her.
Wendigo.
And then to the left of the Wendigo, this is probably the hardest one. Will Ferrell. That's supposed to be the chameleon demon from Brain Drain. He went by Alistair.
Okay.
But then the Source took over his body, his form, and everything. It was a whole thing. So yeah, that's all of them.
Wow.
I wonder if I should do a You Look Familiar to some of these. Because I know what shots that... I don't know. It'd be a lot of them,
It won't be a lot of work. Just do it.
Because I know where a lot of these are made from shots from the episodes. We'll see. I'll put a possible You Look Familiar here. We'll see if I do it.
Have we met before? You look familiar.
Well, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe I will. Now that I propose it to myself, now I'm going to have to do it. So, there you go.
You will. Hermes!
Hermes! All right. So, the next page, we start to go down Piper's journey. Okay. So we see Piper Halliwell, Charmed One, taking a stand. She is in the upper regions. She says, "Every time I come here, I hope it's the last time. Most people spend their lives hoping that, should they die before they wake, they'll end up in a place like this. But me, name a demon? Go on, I faced it, I fought it. They don't scare me anymore. They give me purpose." And we see, like, Leo talking to, like, this, like, newbie white lighter or something. Or, yeah, he's a white lighter, I guess. And he's like, "Thanks for the orb." "It was an honor, sir!"
I love it.
And then Leo and Piper walk to this group of elders. Fucking elders. Okay. And we hear Piper's voice. She's like, "But these glorified bureaucrats have attempted to take more from me than any hellspawn hell has ever spawned." And they're like, "Leo, so good to see you. You too, Iota." What a stupid name, Iota. What a stupid name for a stupid elder. "Congrats on the promotion." And they shake hands. And she's like, Piper's there, like, with her arms crossed, like, "They're no angels." She is so bitter.
Yeah. Would you rather the name Iota or Adel?
You know, I'm so used to Adel at this point. I think I'm more happy with Adel.
Oh, I take Iota over Adel. At least, like, Iota's an interesting word.
A real word.
Yeah. And then Piper finishes her thought. "They're no angels. Unfortunately for them, neither am I." Life's a bitch, and now so am I. Now, Piper, Leo, before we begin our discussion, I wanted to address the obvious. This is, like, the bitchy elder. Like, I don't like her already. This is Iota, right?
This is Iota. Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't have one iota of love for this woman.
Nope.
And she says, "The upper regions, the up theirs, have had a shift in management. Without throwing stones under the watch of the previous elders, the worst kinds of evil have been given access to our realm. That, you understand, cannot be." You know, you would have seen this all if you got the memo. Did you get the memo? Oh, by the way, can you work Saturday? That's what she reminds me of. She's very, like,
She
business.
totally is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck her. Anyway, continue.
And that's basically what Piper says. She's like, "Fuck you. That's not what we've come here to discuss." And she's like, "Oh, I know, Piper, Pipesy, Pooh, but I want to assure you that we are not them. We were white lighters when Leo was taken away from your family." You like that?
Beautiful.
"The harsh ways of old are not our own." And then Leo's like, "What has become of the others?" Oh, Leo, love the question. Love you, Leo poops. "Nothing. They still voice their opinions, and we, the council, in case you forgot, take all opinions, white lighter and elder alike, into account." And Piper's like, "That's very nice. We came here about my sister, Prue." She's like, "Oh, Piper, love the question." Yes, I thought as much. And while we respect you, Piper, and the commitment your sisters have given to our fight against darkness, we have, unfortunately..." And Piper's like, "Oh, please." And Leo's like, "Fuck. Piper, stop. Piper." And she's like, "Cut the bullshit, lady." I love Piper.
I know. But it's so crazy because we hated the old elders, how awful they were. And she's like, "I assure you, we are not them because we were baby white lighters when they were in charge. And now that we're here, we're so much better than they are." I'm like, "No, you're not. You're exactly the same."
Yeah.
Exactly the same. Stop trying to sugarcoat it. Anyway. So, yeah. Pepper's like, "Cut the bull, lady." And then she's like, "Excuse me?"
"Could you? My pearls!"
It was like, Pepper, like, "You sound like you're running for president, lady. You're such a fake bitch." And she's like, "You would not get my vote." And she's like, "I assure you." She's like, "I don't need assurance. I need you on this. You say you respect the work we've done for your fight. We've never fought for you. I'm like,
Oh,
Piper. Because, the elders have always been like, we'll send the charmed ones to do our fighting, to do our dirty work. Will we sit in our little fancy chairs and look on like we're the bosses? And she's like, yeah, we never fought for you. We fought for each other. You, your little group here, your little cult, we're not part of this. She's like, but now, after all these years, when we actually need something, we need you to fight for us. Because guess what? In a single day, a former demon helped us more than you ever have.
bam.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. The feels. Okay. So she goes on up talking about Prue becoming Nexus of the All. And we need to fix this whole situation before Kyra's potion wears off. Potion wears off. So if you want to make a difference between the fight between good and evil, great. But get off your toga-wearing asses and get to work. And then she goes, come on, Leo. And then there's like sulky little elders like, it's not a toga.
It's not even a toga. Come on. They've banned drag up here, so this is all I have. This is my dress.
It's laundry day.
That's not a joking matter. I'm so sick of this drag shit, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
On the next page, oh, it's Paige, or as some of us call her, Podge. You cracked me up. It says, Paige Matthews, charmed one, white lighter, recently listening to a lot of Adele. I love that description. That like tells you everything you need to know in an instant.
Yeah.
By the way, this new artist, I feel like, is the best at drawing.
She's so good.
Henry
Like, especially. Yeah.
Yeah. And Paige is really good too. But Henry, to me, none of the other artists got right. But you could totally tell this is Henry.
Mm-hmm.
And Paige says, you what? And then we see Henry is about to sit down to a very forlorn looking Paige at the kitchen table. And Paige is thinking, this is going to sound messed up. Then we get a shot of the three kids like playing in the other room. And then Paige thinks, but I always thought I'd end up divorced. And then Henry's still not sitting. He says they're transferring some officers. They asked me if I'd be interested in taking a position in LA. There's a pay raise. Fuck.
These children are really good at entertaining themselves, though.
Yeah. I have a question for you, and then I'm going to overshare because I always do on this podcast. But
yeah,
I can kind of... I understand Paige's thought here that like she's always felt like she's gonna get divorced. Is there anything like that you've always felt you were destined to do or thought that you would do?
Oh, good question. Maybe sing all over the place or be on stage.
Okay, I like that.
Because,
yours is more positive than mine.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, because when I was a kid, watching all the Disney movies, watching even Barney and like Wizard of Oz, like all those musicals became such a huge part of my psyche. And so I'm like, one day I'm going to get on stage. And that's why I would sing at recess about people. I would do the whole bell, sing about the people on the playground and sing everywhere I went. And I was afraid for a long time. I would like not sing in public, just in like my own private areas. But then I eventually grew out of that and started going on stage. So
nice.
Yeah.
See, mine's not as nice. I've always felt like I would die by suicide. And I know how fucked up that sounds, but I've always felt that way. I don't know why. And it makes me think of the Richard Ramirez documentary. One of his victims was an older woman, and she was terrified of getting raped and then getting killed. So when Richard Ramirez attacked her, she fought her ass off to like make sure he didn't rape her. So he still killed her, but he wasn't able to rape her like his other victims. So it's very interesting. I wonder if sometimes these thoughts are there for a reason.
Yeah. Wow. Well, now you're gonna make me all sad and stuff.
Don't be sad. I know it's a weird thing to say. I don't like sit around thinking like I want to kill myself today, but I've always just had that thought. That's how it would happen, which is weird. I know. Maybe that's my brain's way of telling me like, Sean, sometimes when you get depressed, you get a little cray thinking, but don't do it, girl.
Yeah. All right, well, let's continue this pleasant conversation.
On a lighter note, I only bring stuff like this up because I always wonder, and I feel like there's
Right, for
other
sure.
people out there who think about stuff like
Right.
this, and it's
People who
uncomfortable.
relate.
But yeah,
You know, I get you. Oh yeah, Henry continues. He's like, I'm thinking about it. I think I want to do it. I think I want to take this new job. And we see here, there's lots of inner voices here. So Paige's inner voice says, I know that's not what every girl thinks about when planning her future. It's not the normal thing to think, but I've never felt invulnerable. And then we have, it's coming back. This flash of her in the car accident that we got back with Barbas in the Fear Always Comes Back issue.
yeah.
And this makes me think that this is something that has haunted her almost pretty much every day of her life, probably. We never saw this side of her. We never knew what she was thinking, but she probably always thinks about this moment whenever something bad happens to her, or whenever, maybe even when the prospects of something good would happen to her, because she thinks about how things could go wrong. So this is that moment for her that's just a constant button pusher.
So for those of you listening, I like that Kevin's way of depicting constant button pusher was to make it look like he was sucking a dick, the way you're moving your hands.
Well, I'm just a very gesture kind of person. I move around, and that's what the gesture was today. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, Paige continues. You know how people get into a car and they think, no, never me. I'll never get into an accident. I'm special. Not me. The odds are just too high. So she always thinks she's getting into an accident. It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But then Henry continues. He says, I want you to come move with me, come to LA. So Paige is like, it's more than the promotion though. It's because of me, isn't it? You want me to be away from my sister. So she's on the thing where Henry still is afraid of the threats. It's not just going away overnight. This is still a concern. And he's like, I want what's best for our children, Paige. And Paige says, and I don't. And he's like, I know you do. We can't keep sitting here talking about the same things, Paige. We had this conversation.
I understand the impact here that, like, he probably does want to take her away from
Right.
her current life. But at the same time, I'm like, she can orb back home anytime she wants. That kind of like lost some of the
all
moment.
the sisters, she's the one that can get around the easiest.
Yeah. And then, so their conversation continues. He says, we have to hide our kids from demons trying to kill you. Is that how you want them to grow up? And Henry Jr., we brought him into this. And Paige says, we saved him. We gave him a family. And Henry says, a family with a target painted on it. We have to get away from this for the kids, for us. And we see images of the kids playing as they're talking, just to really like sink it in. And then Paige thinks to herself, but even when you worry about it happening to you, even when the man you love so much, whose arms feel like a suit of armor when they're wrapped around you, you never see it coming. And Paige says, I'm not leaving my family, Henry. And he says, I am your family. And she says, I love you. I really, really do. I'm sorry. And then she thinks, I wish we were special in love. Damn.
And we see the little tear in her eye. Yeah. Then we cut to Prue's story. It says, Prue Hallowell, the nexus of the all, about to take a business trip. And she says, well, this should be fun. And then she starts glowing, her blue glowing, and then Kyra's like, she's doing the blue glowy thing. That means she's leaving rudely with no explanation. And he's like, I know what it means.
He's lived it.
Yeah. And then we hear Prue utter the word Haramis. And I hope we're saying this correctly. I don't know the correct way to say this. Is it Haramis? Haramis? Harimus?
I wonder if it's an established word. We could do. Let me type it in real quick. It's from ancient Greek.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's Aramis. I found one of those sites that like says it for you.
Okay.
Hermes.
Oh.
What?
Hermes.
Hermos?
Sounds like hammer.
Yeah.
Hammers.
Hermos.
Hammers.
Hermos. Hermes.
Okay. And then when Pat comes back, we can ask him how he
Yeah.
says it, and then we'll go with
That's
that.
true.
Speaking of, Prue's like, that name again. Hermes. It falls from my lips as natural. It doesn't fall naturally from my lips, that's for sure.
Nope.
As natural as exhaling, but I don't know what it is, where it came from. It's tied to the wasteland. But so yeah, we see that she teleported to the wasteland here again. She's like, I'm not getting the whole picture. This is only a piece of the wasteland. I feel it inside of me. The grimoire. The evil grimoire. It's like, it knows more than I do. And it tells me to fly up and to look down. So that's exactly what Prue does. She flies up and looks down.
And she sees, mind blown. She sees this like giant bug-like humanoid body floating through space. And so it looks like that's Hermes.
Yeah. Which is also the wasteland. So the whole wasteland is on this giant bug god Hermes.
Yeah, and I really like this idea because I feel like it's very grounded in like fiction. Like a lot of times we see people are living on the back of a giant turtle. So it's familiar, but like new and different. So this is exciting to me.
It's like those aliens in X-Men on that whale.
Oh yeah, I can't think of what they're called now. See, this is what happens when you have 60 years of X-Men in your head. Akanti, yeah. There you go.
Hermes.
Hermes.
All right, so that was your double spread. It's so easy. Prue comes back, and she says Hermes, and then we see... So I guess she didn't really travel there. She just kind of had her astral self go there, because the way we know the Eight Wasteland, based on our past conversations, is on the astral plane, too. So her body is still physically here in the attic. And we see Kyra go, oh my gosh, this is a You Look Familiar moment. I just noticed that. Anyway, I have to put that in there.
It's funny, she's so familiar to me, though. Reminds me of this old stray that used to hang outside my loft.
Familiars. That's what I'm looking for.
Have we met before? You look familiar.
This picture of Kyra right here is from Charisma's promotional picture of the seer. So, you look familiar. And she's like, are you having a seizure? You keep saying that weird name. Hermes. Shut up. The wasteland isn't aware. It's an it. And Ben's like, come again, quoi? She says, Hermes is an old one. As soon as I saw him, I knew. The nexus of the all, it's as if every bit of magical knowledge is within me, buried like a distant memory, including everything there is to know about the old ones. Seeing Hermes was like a trigger. So yeah, so we know that she's the nexus of all magic, but she doesn't have access to every bit of information, even though it's still inside her. So she has to kind of somehow uncover this information. And then Kyra's like, oh, so vanquished demons live in the bowels of an old one? Great. Well, thanks again for making me human, because I don't want to go there. That sounds disgusting.
Yuck.
And then Ben's like, so we have to kill an old one? And then Prue says, well, he is kind of dead. Well, at least as dead as an old one can be right now. It's like it's like the husk of it. It's like the body is there. But he's infected somebody on this plane. So he's still alive somewhere in some form. It's like it's the only explanation for these demons coming back from the wasteland. It's that he has some kind of bridge, some kind of connection. And it's like, we have to figure out who this person is. Because if I'm right about this just means that every single demon is invulnerable. Every time we vanquish something, there's no promise that it'll stay dead. They can come back at any time. So,
That's crazy. That's really crazy.
Yeah.
So next up we see Paige is on the phone. She's talking to Henry. She says, hi. He says, hi. And she says, and he says, Paige. And she says, remember that time when we were still dating and we went to that pond? And he says, the swan? She says, yes, the swan. It was so beautiful. And I tried to take a picture and he says, and then it went insane and tried to kill us. And she was like, I was laughing so hard. It almost got us. Henry? And he says, yeah. And she says, please stay on the phone with me. You don't have to say anything. I'm just not ready to hang up yet. And he says, I'm here, Paige. And it looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like he's in the car outside of their house getting ready to leave. It's almost like he can't bring himself to leave and she can't bring herself to let him go.
Right, and because you can see Paige is still in there in that image in the window of the house.
Yeah.
So they're like kind of like still in each other's view.
This is heartbreaking.
It's so heartbreaking. Such a simple, awkward, emotional scene. It's really well done. So then the next page, we're back in the upstairs with Piper and Leo. And she's like, so, am I crazy? And Leo's like, Piper Halliwell. And and he kisses her. And he says, I have never been more in love with you. This first image of them kissing, that's a You Look Familiar moment as well.
Have we met before? You look familiar.
It's drawn, especially, I mean, definitely Piper's hair is longer, but it's based off of the kiss in season 1, episode 10, Wicca Envy. Hand placement exactly the same, face structure exactly the same. So there's that You Look Familiar moment. Also, this last one where she's like putting her hands over around his neck like this. That's exactly how she held him in season 2, episode 22, the finale, when before they orb take me to your leader type of thing. Like, I want to meet the elders, take me there. And so she holds him like this and they orb off. We don't see a full body shot like this. It's mostly just like shoulders, but exact same way that she held him in there. So I don't know if I'm going to count it as... I'm just going to look at all these You Look Familiars. I'm a lot of work to do with this comic because...
You do.
Yeah, a lot more than I anticipated reading it this time around. All right. But then they continue the conversation. Piper says, it's odd. I know things are dire right now with Prue and Phoebe's vision of the old ones coming back, but for the first time in the midst of all this darkness, and I still feel happier than I've ever felt in my entire life. What does that say about me? So yeah, she's like, this is crazy. Horrible things are happening, but I feel so good right now. As I think that's a testament to where they are in their relationship. We see Paige and Henry having this real awkward kind of rift between them, and Piper and Leo at a place where they've passed all that. They've gotten through the hardship, and now they're just there and in love and happy.
Yeah,
So,
it's very true. She's found her comfort in the discomfort, basically.
right. Right.
So next we see Ben doing something that is a no-no to me. I will not date people who do this thing. He's smoking. He's ruining his son's body. And he says, hey, Kyra. And she's like, don't you know those will kill you? And he says, they say that about most everything these days, don't they? And she's like, fair point. And he's like, I know you're not a demon anymore, but everything you knew, spells, all the visions, that don't just go away overnight, huh? She's like, of course not. But listen, me and dark magic, we're old friends with benefits. It's a whole like awkward thing. So if you're going to ask me to do a spell, he's like, I died trying to save my son from what he became. Couldn't do a damn thing to stop it. And she says, Ben, Cole's soul was destroyed. Souls aren't bound to space or time. And Ben's like, I know the spiel, all right? Already heard it from Prue. Everyone gets to come back to life except my son. I don't care what happens. I want to go back. And she's like, I'll help you, but you won't like what you find. And he's like, ain't a matter of liking it. I'm his father. So is he saying he wants to like go back to being dead or like go back to meet Cole?
That's the thing. It's very ambiguous because I don't know what he means by go back. He wants to save Cole or know Cole or something, or maybe it's too much for him and he regrets saying he wants to live. More will come for that. I think we'll get into it, but at this point we don't know exactly what that means.
Yeah, it seems like it's meant to be ambiguous.
So, but we do know that he cares about his son, and it's all rooted in that. All right, the next page, it starts with Phoebe just like ugly crying real bad.
Yeah.
Like, and it just hurts so much. It's like the season 6 premiere. It hurts so much, Daddy. we see Elise, and I don't like Elise's haircut right now. It's very frumpadump.
They always do Elise wrong.
I know. I mean, there's one moment in season 9 where she looked good, but here I'm like,
Yeah.
why you gotta draw her like this? But Elisa's like, Phoebe, she's like, where are my sisters?
Oh, you gave her the snort.
And she's like, what? Lisa's like, what happened, honey? She's like, where's Coop? And then we kind of cut to, back, like kind of a flashback to when she was with Coop in the Cupid's temple with Judge Granddaddy Cupid, black man, amazing. He says, Coop Hollowell, due to your actions in the demonic wasteland and for our offering sanctuary within our walls, you have sent a message to the magical community that Cupid stand in solidarity with good. Which, you're an angelic being, you're automatically on the side of good. Sorry to break it to you, but sure. Starting in this moment, you, Coop Hollowell, are only allowed to see your wife on the anniversary of the day you wed. If you violate these terms, your children and yourself will be stripped of all powers.
Wow. And then we see Phoebe. She speaks up directly to Judge Hot Daddy Black Huge Man, and she's like, then fucking strip them of their powers. Our family is more importanter than any of that. And Phoebe and Coop is like, whoa, Phoebe, maybe something you don't know that's kind of important. She's like, you have some damn nerve. This isn't about love. This is about you being cowards. If you think Coop would choose powers over his family, you, and then again, he's like, oh, Phoebe, you're not working off all the information here. And he's like, Cupids aren't like white lighters. If they took my powers, I would basically like take on all the years that I've lived all at once. And since we know he's lived since basically like way back then, he would age and die instantly.
Yeah.
And Phoebe makes that realization all at once. You die.
Mm-hmm. So the final page, she says, he's gone, Elise. Coop's gone.
I love your crying.
And then we see Benjamin and Kyra walk back in, and Benjamin has this really like compassionate face. He's like, oh, poor Phoebe. And Kyra's so cute. She picks up PJ, who looks like she's smoking a cigarette herself. Like,
yeah.
Like, what is that? She's like, And Kyra's like, hey, it's okay. Hey, everyone, let's go play in the other room, okay? Come on. And so, and then Frumpy Dump, oh, this hairstyle on Elise is so ugly.
It really is.
Oh my god, it's even worse than before. She's like, it's okay, Phoebe, we're gonna make things right. You know, Piper and Leo came out stronger. They went through all these trials and tribulations. She's like, you know, you and Coop, they can't keep you apart. We'll figure this out. And then we see Phoebe hold her stomach, and she's like, she's coming, Elise. I'm pregnant. It's like, I felt her my whole life, but now, my baby girl. Number 3.
Yep. And is this going to be the daughter that she had the premonition of? Or is that her first daughter? Okay.
That's the first daughter. Because she called her Ladybug, and that's PJ.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. But this is the one that they saw in Forever Charmed when she's rushing to the hospital. She had her 2 other daughters with Billy, and she's running. Yeah. So this is the last one.
See, this is why I need you to guide me through the lesser works.
Yeah. And that's the end. But there were no new powers in this issue. So I decided to just pick a power play that I thought was relevant.
Do it.
Power play. Today's power play is unblocking. Unblocking is the ability to remove an energy field blocking the prospective charge's heart from finding love. The only magical beings to use this power are Cupids, and they access it through their rings. Although, is kind of useless because a charge has to do the work to heal their heart and open their heart up first to unblock themselves. So really, all the ring does, all this power does, is give you the satisfaction of seeing pretty lights when you do your own work. So unblocking.
Okay.
You can see it in action in Generation Hex, season 8, episode 17. So what are overall thoughts on this issue?
So I'll tell you this. I'm not just saying this because he's probably listening to the episode, but I see you, Pat Shand. This issue has made me think to myself, how can I write more like Pat Shand? How can I incorporate his style into my writing? Because I think this is brilliant. Like, I was thinking about it the way that he has slowly put Coop and Henry in the forefront over these last 12 issues and kind of put Leo in the background to really make sure that we connect with Coop and Henry, that we want more from them. And then to suddenly show like, oh shit, they're both in trouble. They've both like done something that is questionable. And now like we're really invested in their relationship with our Charm sisters. It made me think, I'm going to talk a lot here. You asked, so I'm going to talk. It made me think of like horror films. Like, for example, when I watched The Green Room, which if you're not familiar, I think or The Green Inferno, I think. It was about a group of people going out into like the forest, the jungle, to like help a tribe of people. And they ended up getting captured and brutally murdered and eaten.
Oh.
And movies like that I have trouble with because these are really good people and you're just watching them be tortured. So the fact that Pat like took the time to write in like Coop's been lying, like he did something bad, and Henry lied to Paige, and depending on how you look at it, put the kids in trouble. So like we have a reason to be like, oh, they deserve what's coming to them, but I also like them, so I don't want to see them in danger. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I look for in horror films, is I need the characters to do so, like, just litter, for God's sake, so that I could watch them get brutally murdered, you know? So, this, and, like, bringing in these 10 characters from the series, the show, like, I'm even more invested to see, like, is there a bigger narrative? If it's even just, like, paying homage to these characters, like, this is crazy. The way Pat Shand has put this together, and I love it. And now I see like why some people say this is the best season.
Good, cool. There's a lot of really good things I like about this issue. There's so much going on. I enjoyed that we have a moment with all 4 sisters and Ben as like little vignettes, and we're introduced to them like they're in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. My favorite part of this whole comic is Piper being a boss bitch on the elders. That's so much satisfaction in that. It's like everything that all of us fans... I mean, I think it's a pretty common thing that everyone hates the elders. If you don't, you didn't watch the same show. So this was real cathartic for me to see it like really lay into them. The Paige and Henry situation is so heavy and so moving. And I love that this rewards the thoughts that we had previously about our theories, and that Paige's and Phoebe's relationships could easily fall apart. They're not set in stone. You know, we don't know if they really end up together. We thought the ending was temporary. There's still stuff after the happily ever after they give you, you know? So, I do have some problems with some of the Coop stuff in here. Because of the many implications it has towards, like, canonical problems. There's just general frustrations I have about Charmed lore. So let's get into canonical. Put that in my canonical hat.
Canonical.
Do you have anything?
I don't think so. I think I'm good.
Okay, sit back and relax. I've got lots to cover here.
Oh, shit.
So, the manor does not have that giant back balcony on it. I've been inside of it. I've seen it behind it. The actual manor only actually has a very tiny balcony there. Maybe you can sit in the back in a chair or something. Granted, you know, there are differences between the actual house and the set. So, you know, the fantasy house doesn't have to be exactly what is real. But, you know, even if you watch the few episodes where we see the backyard, I think of Magic Hour, you can totally see that there's evidence that there's no balcony that massive present.
Yeah.
So that's just a little minor thing. But if you want to know more, you can check out our bonus episode on Hallowell Manor to hear more about all that. So now we get into some Cupid stuff. All right. Cupids should not have the ability to strip the children of their powers. Coop, sure. I can see Coop. But like I hate, like this is a show problem too, that the elders and Cupids now can take away something that witches should have inherently in them, that they're born with. They should have no authority over it, because it makes powers feel less like a natural part of you and a birthright, and more like a license.
I can see that.
When Cupids and White Letters, they have these higher councils, and they turn a human, they make a human, they bestow these powers on them and make them part of their ranks. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. If you bestow these powers onto them, you can take those powers away. I get that, because these are humans first. But witches, no. This is part of them. This is in their blood. It has nothing to do with them. And no governing force should have any say on it, except for maybe destiny. So, I don't like this. Just like in Crimes and Witch Demeanors, when the tribunal took Phoebe's powers. That pisses me off. If they wanted to do it that way, they could have forced her to take a binding potion, or they could have got one of those X-Men power dampening collars, and then it would have made sense. There are ways around it. If you want this effect to happen, they can force you to do other things, but they can't just wipe out your powers with a snap of their hand.
Touche.
So that's all. Little rant there. Sorry. All right. And in season 9, now we're on the subject. When Coop lost his powers in the reversal of magic, do you remember? He lost his powers already, and he did not age.
Okay. I didn't think about that.
And I brought it up back then. I told you to watch out for this issue, Court of Love, because that's a canonical error that happens. I'm sure there's a way to write it. You can make an excuse for it to why it didn't have. Maybe because in that magical switch, they were cut off from the Cupids and the Elders and everything, and because of that, connection was lost, that the powers didn't actually really disappear. They just kind of left access to it. I don't know. You can rationalize it, but just something to think about.
Yeah, that's where my mind went first. Is maybe it depends on how he's stripped, because But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good one for that.
Yeah. Is Coop a compulsive liar? Let's break it down. Over the course of season 10, he told Leo and Pepper that he was on trial. He said, "Don't tell Phoebe. I have to go do my sentencing. Please babysit my daughter. I have to go on my trial." And then later on, we do see him on the phone with Phoebe while he's outside Arrow Justice. So he's outside of this building. But then he goes and tells Henry, "There's I was lying about that. There's really no trial." And then he's back on Judgment. So the back and forth drives me a little nuts.
Yeah. But maybe he got scared. Maybe he thought that they would tell Phoebe that he was on trial. So he's like, just kidding.
Right. So, yeah, there's my canonical segment. I think that's all I got.
Okay. It wasn't as bad of his rant as I thought. You set it up
Okay.
for.
Okay. Well, good. All right. I guess next is tips for future White Lighters.
Oh, we're really just messengers? Guides? Think of us as guardian angels for good witches.
Tips for future White Lighters.
I was out being a force of good in the universe.
What's your moral?
So I got a little emotional thinking about this, and I shared some things with you over our romantic Chipotle dinner in front of the Aqua concert.
Yes.
Henry and Paige, just watching them and just thinking back to my own divorce, it's sometimes love isn't enough, and that's a really hard lesson I think some of us have to learn. And just watching them go through this, it kind of, I won't get into the details, but I'm still in love with Chris, my first husband. We're still the best of friends, but we're weren't enough to like stay together.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've moved on from it. I'm very happy being with Alan. I'm very happy in the relationship I am. I'm getting the stuff from him that I was getting from Chris or needed. But yeah, it just sucks to see like they want to be together so much and they may not be able to hold it together for what they need.
Yeah. More to come. So,
Mm-hmm.
My tip is, no matter how righteous you think you are, nothing can ever truly protect you from the assholery of others.
Right.
Somebody will always be there to fuck you up. So, even if you're doing all the right things.
Yep. Accurate.
There's no onomatopoeias. Nothing in this issue. So, all right, most valuable panel.
So, I had kind of a tie. I broke it though. The first one I thought about was the one where it shows the 10 characters from like the show, the 10 demons. But the one I went with is Prue astral projecting and seeing Aramus, just because like that puts in such a huge new element to our story. The fact that like the ancients are these huge creatures apparently, and the humans that we've seen are just embodiments of the ancients. That's crazy. That's insane to me.
Right. There's a lot of implications. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
My most valuable panel is Piper telling Iota that they never fought for them. Tell that bitch off, Piper. My heart was so happy. So it's the most valuable thing for me.
Mrs. Wyatt, I'm feeling some hostility from you right now.
It's like, yeah, you want to feel it even harder?
Yeah.
That's Piper. She's given me so much life. It's amazing. All right, sexiest drawing.
I don't think I picked the one you thought I did, even though I thought about picking the one you thought I would. I actually picked this other one of the memory, where you see the back of Cole, you see his butt, you see his tight-fitting shirt, you see Phoebe in her like hot dress, and you see these people in the tight clothes behind her. Like, everybody's gorgeous right here. And sometimes, like, even though they're fully clothed, sometimes seeing that is even sexier than seeing naked.
Absolutely. It's very true, because then you have the freedom to like just imagine and just like get a little taste. I love that. And then, you know, the fun of just undressing somebody, we're getting off the rails, but still amazing.
We actually spell worders, we actually paused the podcast right now. We both ran and threw cold water on ourselves and then came back, but we edited it, so it's like we're here.
Oh, I just let one rip. It's fine. I just blew a load in the break. It was amazing. Anyway.
Is that what's on the camera?
Yeah. Sorry. I'll clean it. Anyway. So my sexiest is actually the top one before we see Ben all shirtlessy. It's when Kyra is in the doorway looking at him, because we get both of them in the same shot, and Kyra is in her sexy like phoenix in the doorway. She's like, "Oh boys, don't you love me? You got it. What is it? You got a hot dog for me?" Yeah, it's very much that. And then, you know, Ben's there all naked in the bed, and you don't see it, but it's still implied, and that's what's very sexy about it. So
yeah.
Issue ranking. What would you give this? Magically Delicious, Pretty Witchin', A Sorcerer's Apprentice, Just Enchanting, or Vanquishable?
If there was one above Magically Delicious, I would give it that, but I'll settle for Magically Delicious.
Yeah, you are all about this one. You loved it so
I love this.
It is a good one. And while I do have irks about it, it's not the comic's fault. I think it's something that existed in Charmed lore before this. So I'm going to give it a Magically Delicious too, because the writing around it is still very strong and very amazing.
Yeah. Good. I would have quit the podcast if you gave any less.
So now we have a PS4 poll for next week.
Prue? Piper,
You mean it's just you and Prue, huh?
Phoebe? Phoebe, you there?
And a big hello to you too, Penny.
Come on, Patty. The rest is up to them.
Paige. My name is Paige.
Another P, imagine that.
P is for Paul. Pick the worst minor romance in the series. So these are the options I have. I give you 4 options. Prue and Justin, Piper and Greg, Phoebe and Miles, or Paige and Nate. You might need reminding of who these people are. All of these people, aside from Greg, only lasted 2 episodes each. Greg was 3 because...
Was Greg the hot fireman?
Yes.
Okay. I remember him. I don't remember who else. Oh, I remember Miles.
Remember Miles, obviously. Justin first appeared in Coyote Piper that he went to high school with. He was in Piper's class, but he always had a big crush on Prue, and he kind of dated her a little bit. And then Paige and Nate, that's Norman Reedus.
Oh, okay. The worst one to me was Phoebe and Miles. And, like, they got along fine when he was alive, but the fact that she was dancing in her room, I'm going to go back to that. She was dancing and singing in her room, like, the same night he died. So, obviously, he meant shit to her. Like, that was nothing.
Right. I mean, true. See, my favorite of these is Prue and Justin. I thought they were so adorable. I loved it. Because she reveled in the fact that he had a huge crush on her, and she was, like, felt so superior and super, like, popular around him. And the fact that they did this list, like, she's like, excuse me, but you only got a 4 out of 5 out of 10 on my list. It's like, right, but I got an F, but dude, you got an F minus. And so it's like this really fun, they made lists on each other. They were super adorable. I love them. My least favorite would probably be Paige and Nate, because Nate was dating Paige even though he had a wife and children.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really shady.
That's pretty bad.
Really shady. Yeah. So, I mean, yes, you got her to sing, and I do appreciate you for getting her to sing, but still, don't be cheating on your wife.
Yeah, and I like them together, too, until you find that out. Poor Paige. Poor Podge.
Poor Podge. So, yeah, but I'm curious to see what people will think, so I thought that would be a fun little... We are a court of love here, after all, you know.
Yes.
Oh, and something interesting about Greg... I learned this from House of Hollow. I didn't know this. When Greg came back in season 8, because he was only on for 2 episodes in season 6. When he came back on for season 8 after Leo was frozen, that was supposed to be Dan.
Oh, shit.
Dan was supposed to come back. They asked Greg Vaughn. I wonder why they named him Greg, because Greg Vaughn. But they asked Greg Vaughn to come back, but he was stuck in some kind of soap opera contract, and he could not come back.
That's crazy.
But that would have been so fantastic. I mean, that's really... If someone's going to really test you after Leo's gone, that Dan would be the one.
Yeah, because there wasn't a lot, I feel, wrong with Dan. Like, you almost felt sorry for him when she kind of breaks up with him just to get back with Leo.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll go with that. So, Sean, tell us what's next.
Oh, I just noticed what the episode title is. It's The Four Sisters, Part 1. This is going to be
Yeah.
So we see this really cool picture of Piper, Paige, and Phoebe, but they seem to be like, I don't know if this is the symbolism that I'm thinking it is, but they're kind of like cut apart from this lightning emanating from Prue. What I really like about this is like this, maybe I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. This is the first like nice rendition we've seen of Prue, huh, in this body. Because it's always been kind of like a shadow of her, or like, well, I guess we got the ghost Prue, so that's true. We got that.
Yeah.
Which is Patience. So I guess
Right.
I'm wrong.
But
But it says, with the temporary spell wearing out, the Charmed Ones race to find a way to protect their family from Prue's powers without killing her. As they prepare to do a dangerous spell, the shape-shifting big bad that has seized control of one of their own is setting its plan in motion. And they even say it, so we don't know if it's like male or female.
I mean, obviously it has to do with the old ones, I'm thinking, right? Aramis.
Mm-hmm.
Gexagiel. So
Rob
yeah.
Zombie.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? We'll find out soon. Wow, we did it. So tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on the marvelous galaxy of Disney with your Star Wars, Marvel, Disney news every week. You can find me on mymagicaljourneys.com. Girl, we have like 4 trips to plan right now. We be busy over at My Magical Journey.
Oh yeah, you're doing a lot. I'm so glad that it's working out for you.
Yeah, and just to remind everybody, we can plan your trip. It's no extra cost to you, and then we get paid out from like the hotels or theme parks or whatever, wherever you're going, and we can give suggestions on what to do wherever you're going. And you can find my book, Witch's Brew, A Dream of Waking, on Amazon. I mean, come on, if you like Charmed, you're gonna like my book. There's witches and vampires and shit. Like, come on.
And I didn't tell you this, but Steven, I'm surprised he didn't mention it. Steven, who was on last week, he has your book.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Steven. Thank you for listening, and thank you for buying the book as well.
Yeah. Cool. So you can find Sean and I both also on Solving for X. We're finishing up that season 4, some of your favoritist episodes. So that's exciting. And you can follow this podcast at Words of the Witches, all places but Twitter, where it's Words of Witches. If you feel like emailing, I don't always say this, but you can email wordsofwitchespod@gmail.com. Just write in anything, questions, concerns, thoughts. We want to hear it. I like it. It's fun. And yeah, that's it. I guess we'll see you next week for the Four Sisters Part 1. Ooh, which means there's going to be another part. So it's like a 2-parter. This is the first 2-parter in comics history. So
Wow.
This is the first 2-parter since Bad World. Since it's a bad world.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So yeah, that's exciting. All right. We'll see you then, Spell Where It Is. Take care, carry on. Your destiny still awaits.